Yes! Oh, we are live for another episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I am your host, Alex Donno. Donno Daily here on 5R Live is brought to you by our good friends, newest sponsor on this program, BetUS.com. Guys, football season is almost back on, sports bettors, and BetUS has your NFL betting lines up for their 27th year, along with major college baseball, Olympics, MLS, global soccer, so much more, guys, and live betting on all of it. Log on to betus.com or call 1-800-792-3887. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, B-E-T-U-S. BetUS.com. If you use our promo code 5RSN125, you get a 125% sign-up bonus or 200% if you use crypto. And they actually have customer service pros, and I can say that from experience. My customer service rep individually assigned to me is Carla. She is awesome. Guys, we are also served here by the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill, the freshest seafood and the best place to watch every UFC pay-per-view fight with zero cover charge. Try the new jerk chicken sandwich and the new Italian beef sandwich. You will thank me later. Find the location nearest to you and peep their menu at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. You know, I wanted to make part of the title of this episode Lowry Mania. There's plenty to talk about with the Heat. And yeah, you know what? Right out of the gates, man, Marquise de Miami writes in the comments section, sucks losing Kendrick Nunn. Bros, I am bummed about that, especially since, you know, the deal that he got from the Lakers, 2 years, $10 million, $5 million per season. It's not like the Heat got priced out of that deal. You know, Kendrick Nunn, by the way, goes over to Los Angeles. I can't take credit for this joke, unfortunately. I saw this on a meme. But he's going now to L.A. to bring the average age of that squad down to 78 years old. I guess they needed someone who's not a senior citizen on that Los Angeles Lakers team. But yeah, guys, it does suck losing Kendrick Nunn. Lowry Mania, though, I'm going to focus on the positives. I'm going to focus on Kyle Lowry in, PJ Tucker in, the latest Markieff Morris is in, and I would envision, and I want to bring our guy Sean Stanley, pro wrestling aficionado, but also a big South Florida sports fan, in on this conversation as well. I could see Markieff Morris being the starter and PJ Tucker being the finisher, and Morris is another player known for the tenacious D, the tenacious defense. I am loving the attitude, I'm loving the personality, and I'm loving the D. Who doesn't want the D that Pat Riley is building right now in the Heat? You're going to get, hopefully, the scoring spark from people like Jimmy, Bam, and Lowry, while also getting that incredible D down the stretch. The Heat are able now, I think, to put a closing lineup on the floor that's going to be virtually impossible for any opponent to score against. So I love the fact, Sean, that Pat Riley is bringing some of that late 90s defensive flair to our 2021 Miami Heat. I am so here for it.
Yeah, no, definitely, especially with the addition of Markieff Morris. And when you look at this team, and we were joking off air, but this team is just full of fight, figuratively and literally. This is going to be a tough team. This is not going to be, you know, that team that's going to be finesse. They're going to be in your face. They're going to be defensive minded. And like you said, I think it is bringing back the 90s style defense. The one thing I want to see and see how this works out is that the offense has changed a little bit since the 90s.
Yeah.
And how will this defense look if a team is trying to bombard from the 3-point line? But I'm here for it. I'm here for what Riley's done. Yeah, it's like you said, don't focus on the negatives. Let's focus on the positives. And that's what we're doing right here. Lowry Mania.
If you're watching us live, take advantage of the live chat feature on YouTube. As long as you're signed in to your Google account, your YouTube account, you can chat live to your heart's content, my friends. And if you're watching us, whether it's live or watching us via replay, smash that like button. Hit the thumbs up. Hit it again and again and again. Smash that like button. And make sure, by the way, you are subscribed to the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube channel. I have a feeling a lot of you already are. And I've seen the way that the numbers have been growing in recent weeks and recent days. That free agency stream that we had with all of our NBA reporters on a couple of nights ago, I think they like surpassed like 35, 40,000 views. Like it was unbelievable and brought a lot of new eyes to 5 Reasons. So make sure you're subscribing to this channel. And Marquise writes in, I just don't like the price for Lowry at his age. I don't think we need to be thinking, fans, right now about 3-4 years down the road. And for Lowry, it would be 3 years down the road. He's got the 3-year deal, $30 million per season. The Heat also gave Jimmy Butler a 4-year extension worth $181 million. So yeah, at the end of those deals, in theory, you're going to have players locked in their mid, or in Lowry's case, in their late 30s. But what you're doing right now is some of this is the tax. Some of this is the cost of doing business, and it's what it takes to lock these players up. And if you didn't, somebody else would. But it's also about maximizing the championship caliber windows of people like Jimmy and like Lowry, right? You know, Andy Ellisberg is the guy doing the cap gymnastics, and he's the one running the Heat's balance sheet, okay? So 2-3 years down the road, when money needs to get finagled, when expiring contracts need to get dealt and cap space needs to be created, let Andy and Pat cross that bridge when we get to it. For right now, it's about maximizing the championship window for guys like Jimmy and guys like Lowry, and it's about building the most competitive possible team for the next couple of years. 3-4 years down the road, we will worry about it then. You know, sometimes we live in this Miami Heat bubble, and I love what the Heat have been doing in free agency. Like, you can't say that they're grabbing whales, right? Because I wouldn't consider Kyle Lowry a whale, but I think that the quantity and the quality of the moves that they've been making have made this team better, and they're doing an excellent job considering the salary cap situation. I don't know if I would say the Heat are having the best free agent period. I'm a little bit disappointed that we missed out on DeMar DeRozan, because even like yesterday afternoon, and we talked to Brady Hawk about it, you know, if the Heat still have the room to get this done, is it a possibility that he could come in? We were still clinging to hopes that DeMar DeRozan would take less money so he could team up with his guy, Kyle Lowry, his former teammate from Toronto. He ends up taking the bag in Chicago. And I can't blame him, right? Because, you know, playing with friends of yours and trying to build a winning group somewhere may not be the top priority when that much more money is at stake. So I can't really blame DeRozan for taking the bag. You know, Marquise writes in, I really hope Oladipo signs. We really missed out on what we could see from him. I'm not an Oladipo backer. I just think his body cannot be depended on.
Yeah, that's he's not dependable. You need somebody that's going to be dependable. If with this team right now, what have we seen from Oladipo? We saw what, glimpses
3 games,
in 2 games, glimpses, and in the one game he was just getting his legs under him, and then he's injured again.
Like, I'm okay investing in older players if I have a reasonable expectation their bodies are going to hold up. People like Jimmy and Lowry, but I do not have a reasonable expectation that Victor Oladipo's body is going to hold up. I want him to be somebody else's problem at this point. So I think the Heat have had a very good free agent period so far. A lot of folks, you know, outside of the usual trolls, like we were putting Stephen A on blast yesterday. Colin Cowherd, he's got an anti-Heat agenda. Skip Bayless can be anti-Heat. Not that we care what those losers really think, because they're out there just trying to generate clicks and generate hot takes. But, you know, a lot of the folks that are actually in the business of rating basketball and covering the NBA and reporting on it are so high on what the Heat are doing that the Heat are considered to be the big winners so far in free agency. I'll read you some excerpts from Bleacher Report grades, letter grades given to the Heat moves so far. So, you know, you start with the Heat sign and trade for Kyle Lowry. The Heat tried to acquire Lowry at the trade deadline last year. Miami was always his preferred destination. The Toronto Raptors were happy to help Lowry, arguably the most important player in their franchise history, to get where he wanted. The exact details of the deal were unclear at the time that they wrote this, but expect Goran Dragic and Precious Achiuwa to head to Toronto. They give that move a solid A. And as Brady Hawk reminded me yesterday, another reason why you give that move an A was, had you acquired Lowry at the trade deadline last year, the cost of doing business there, among other things, would have been Duncan Robinson. But now getting him in this sign and trade, you get to have your cake and eat it too, because you also re-signed Duncan. So that's a brilliant move. The Miami Heat extending Jimmy Butler, they give that one an A-. And their only doubt is, will it be too much in 3 or 4 years? That doesn't matter today, they write, especially if the Heat can duplicate their 2020 playoff success over the Milwaukee Bucks with Lowry in the fold. Re-signing Duncan Robinson, they gave that move a B+. I actually go higher than that. I can agree, I think, with the A- for Jimmy and absolutely agree with the solid A for Lowry. I think I'd go at least an A- for re-signing Duncan Robinson. They say 5 years is longer than any other team could offer, so knock the grade down slightly. Oh, I guess that just means they're less impressed with the Heat re-signing Duncan. But the market had very few available wings to Robinson's benefit. And they gave PJ Tucker to Miami, by the way, an A+. So there you have it. Nothing worse than a B+. I think that report was published before the Markieff Morris edition, and I give that one a high mark as well, especially for the low cost that the Heat were able to get it done on the 1-year deal. So I am absolutely bullish. Color me bullish on what the Miami Heat are doing so far. Hey, in about 5 minutes, we're going to talk some Miami Hurricanes with the Jazzmanian Devil himself, Jazz Santana, who's going to join us, part of our 5 Rings Canes team in the 6th ring. He's going to join us at about 12:15. You realize this, and time just moves differently this time of year when there's so many things going on. But I had almost forgotten until Monday when we had Jakari Givens on with us, who talked primarily Dolphins with us, not Canes. So I want to go Canes today with Jazz Santana. But it was Jakari who reminded me, fall camp for Miami is starting on Friday. Like, it is going to be here now in the snap of a finger. We are less than 48 hours away from Manny Diaz and the guys taking the field at Green Tree, heading into that indoor practice facility, and then the clock starts ticking for the Alabama Crimson Tide September 4th in Atlanta, which we are exactly 1 month away from. We are exactly 1 month away from Miami taking on the Tide. And I could not be more simultaneously excited while also a little bit nervous about that encounter, man. But another thing we saw last night, and you better believe, even though we don't have like Heat basketball here in earnest until, late October, I peeped some of that summer league last night. So advantage Miami Heat over the Los Angeles Lakers in summer league. And Omer Yurtseven, I'm going to call him the Turkish Moses Malone from here on out. That dude was sensational. 27 points, 19 rebounds. Yurtseven looked absolutely unstoppable. He's also got that range, which you would expect from a European big man, going 3 for 7 from outside the arc. So, the Heat have a good problem here with kind of an embarrassment of riches and developmental riches. Like I remember 3-4 years ago, before Duncan Robinson burst on the scene with the big team playing NBA games, I was watching that guy with the Sioux Falls Skyforce knocking down threes left and right. I was bullish on him, and I could be bullish here on Omer Yurtseven in Summer League as well. Quote here from Ira Winderman from the South Florida Sun Sentinel on the Markieff Morris signing, which was the latest free agent endeavor that the Heat made yesterday. The addition of Morris, 31 years old. So, yeah, the Heat are investing, by the way, in a lot of over 30s, a lot of veterans, a lot of guys with big-time experience. The addition of Morris, 31, continues the Heat trend towards veterans. Morris, who was with the Lakers team that defeated the Heat in the 2020 NBA Finals. So, remember, they've added PJ Tucker, who just won a title. They've added Markieff Morris, who just won a title the year prior. So, it's no coincidence the types of veterans that Riley is going after. It reminds you a lot of the Andre Iguodala edition from a couple of years ago. Like, he's going after these grizzled veterans who know what it means to be a part of a championship team and a part of a championship locker room. They write, the Heat have been in search of consistency at power forward since losing Jay Crowder in the 2020 offseason and then dealing Kelly Olynyk at this past season's NBA trading deadline. So I'll reiterate, I think Markieff Morris could be the starter at the 4, and PJ Tucker, who has the type of attitude that I love, I think he's going to be the finisher at the 4. All right, let's bring in our first guest of the afternoon, shall we? 48 hours away from Miami, running through that smoke. I don't know if they do that at fall camp or not. So we're actually a month away from Miami running through that smoke. But let's talk a little fall camp with our guy, Jazz Santana, from our 5 Reasons Sports Canes coverage. Jazz, good afternoon to you, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon, Donno. This is awesome, man. I'm so excited to be on your show. Congratulations. You're kicking ass. I'm really excited about it, man. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, man. I'm so excited to have you. And listen, I want to come out of the gates here and ask you a question that I did ask to Larry Bluestein and Jakari Givens last night when we were taping a new episode of Five Rings Canes. Can you think of a player or two, Jazz, that you think is going to steal a lot of headlines in fall camp? Like whether it be a freshman or maybe a transfer guy or someone who's been on the roster and hasn't really come of age yet, someone you think is going to turn heads at the end of this week over the weekend and steal those early fall headlines?
Wow, that's a good question. Yeah, I think I can give you two. I'll give you one on the offensive side of the ball, and I'll give you one on the defensive side. How about that?
I like it. I love
Yeah.
it.
So on offense, I think that you kind of hit it on the head there. I think that Charleston Rambo is a kid we need to really look at. The transfer out of Oklahoma. I think he's the kind of guy that can come right in and complement what Mike Harley has already been doing, obviously with the big numbers that he put up last year. So he's set to have a really good year, especially with De'Aaron King being able to come back and play. But I think Charlie Rambo is a guy that I really want to keep an eye on the offensive side of the ball. I think he'll be able to produce, put up some really nice numbers, and we're going to need it. I mean, this team is pretty loaded on the offensive side of the football now. It looks like the offensive line is starting to take shape as well. So I definitely want to see what Rambo can kind of bring to the table there. On the defensive side of the football, another transfer, right? Tyreek Stevenson.
Yeah, great one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you see anything, De'Aaron King was talking about who he wants to go after in camp. I think he said it either today or yesterday. I'm not 100% sure, but he was talking about he wants to go after Tyreek Stevenson because he's already talking a lot of trash, and he's the typical defensive back. Trash talking, and so he's excited to see what he's going to do. He's a really good player, transferred out of Georgia. I think he should have stuck with Miami to begin with, but he's here now, so I think that he's poised to have a really big year as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's good stuff here. Jazz Santana joins us here, Donno Daily on 5R Live on the Five Reasons Sports Network. Do you have any concerns about De'Aaron King? Now, I'm not talking about just the medical recovery, but the fact that so much of what he's been able to do to prepare for the season has been limited because of that recovery. Because it's one thing for Manny Diaz to tell us throughout, the offseason that he's smashing all of his benchmarks. He's a fast healer. He's working so hard. I believe it because I know what kind of a guy De'Aaron King is, and I'm sure he is going the extra mile to get back quickly. But I think there's also something to be said about the type of rehab he's going through and the time lost. I know the injuries are not the same, okay? But if I compare what happened with Tua Tagovailoa last year, and that was a hip, not a knee, I get it. But even once he was physically cleared, it still has taken him some extra time to really hit his stride and find his physical form again. How concerned would you be about De'Aaron King, even if he's physically 100%, just not having the same intangibles he had last year?
Look, it's the old cliche, right? We're not going to know until he takes a hit, really, right? A real hit, and unfortunately, he's the first time he's going to take a hit is against the defending national champions. So, I think that's going to be kind of the barometer to see. Yeah, and look, the bottom line is he uses his legs a lot, right? His legs are a big part, if not more than 50% of his game is using his legs to be able to, to scramble, run a little bit, get some yards. We saw it last year a lot. So is there a little bit of concern? Absolutely. I think that, again, we're just going to have to wait and see a little bit. Yes, Manny Diaz is saying all the right things. De'Aaron King is saying all the right things about how he's ready to go. He's going to be 100% for Alabama and so on. But we just never know. So there is a little bit of concern. However, I am excited with what's behind them with TVD and Jake Garcia. So I think that we're in a good position. However, the bottom line is without De'Aaron King this year, even though we'll have, what I think is going to be one of the best offenses that we've had in quite some time here in Miami, I just don't know if it's going to be able to produce as well as it would be with De'Aaron King on the field. So I definitely, there is a little bit of, I think it's natural to have a little bit of concern, but I think at the end of the day, if he can take the hits and he can, stay healthy, especially against a team like Alabama, I think it's going to be positive.
Jazz, within the last couple of weeks, Miami had to make a roster subtraction at safety, and they absolutely had to do it because the crime that he arrested for was heinous. And if there is a road back for him, it cannot be at Miami. So Avante Williams, who was arrested and dismissed for domestic battery against his pregnant girlfriend. Going from a football standpoint for what Miami has left, who do you think will and needs to step up with Avante Williams no longer on the team?
Look, the good news is that safety position is okay. It's a healthy position. It's probably our best position in terms of depth on the defensive side of the football. Guys like Keyshawn Washington, I think, is a kid that nobody really talks about, that I think he's going to have to step up. Obviously, you got the other kids, the Brian Balaams, James Williams, right? Everybody talks about James Williams, 5-star prospect. One of the top players in the country last year, coming in. I think he's gonna have to step up. You're obviously gonna have to see more consistency from Bubba Bolden. I think Bubba Bolden, started off really hot last year and then kind of tapered down a little bit. And so you're gonna have to see a lot from him as well. And some of the other guys, a lot of other guys are gonna have to contribute. Amari Carter, although I think he's gonna play more of that striker position, I still think that he's gonna be a little bit at the safety position also. So you're gonna see a lot of kids that are gonna be coming in and out of that, in that role, and to kind of step up for Avante, because I truly believe Avante was gonna have a big role on this team. And like you said, Don, there's no room for that in life, period. And especially in football.
So exactly a month from now, Miami opens against the Alabama Crimson Tide. As much as I would like to see Miami win that game, I'm not delusional. I mean, maybe stranger things and bigger upsets that have happened. That's certainly not one that I'm expecting. Jazz, is there an outcome other than outright victory that you could consider a moral victory against Alabama? I am not one for moral victories for the most part, although I think the Crimson Tide might be so damn good that you may have to look for some. Like, a couple of years ago, for example, when Miami opened up against Florida in Orlando and they had that game and they lost it, some people were trying to say, well, moral victory, look how good Jaron Williams looked, and we've got a quarterback of the future. Well, first of all, we didn't, at least not with that guy. And that didn't really translate to mega success that year. So I'm not a big moral victories guy, but against Alabama, we might have to set the bar a little bit lower. So is there a type of outcome or performance you could say, you know what, Miami didn't win, but I'm impressed with what I saw? Oop, I think I lost Jazz there for a second. It's a little frozen. Oop, yeah, he's freezing a little bit. I don't know if I can see you. Yeah. No, I think we need to try to reconnect. I think Jazz needs to try to reconnect.
Here. You see me?
Yeah, I see you, but I think there's like a massive delay. And try to reconnect. Log off and reconnect. I don't want this is technology. I was reading something. Speaking of technology, Sean, I don't know if you saw this. Manny Chang actually sent it to me this morning. August 4th is the day. According to Terminator 2, excellent James Cameron film, August 4th, 1997 was the day that Skynet computers became self-aware. That's the day when the Skynet computers took over all of our nukes, all of our defense capabilities, and humankind lost control of the deadliest weapons out there. So I kind of feel like Skynet on August 4th, 2021 might have just taken control of Jazz Santana's smartphone. So, a couple decades late and $1 short, but here we are.
That's where he goes wrong. You got the Apple. That's where you go wrong. Gotta go Android.
Yeah, dude, I have little respect for Android people. And it's very simple. Like, you can talk to me for days about how good these phones are and about how good your stupid cameras are with these Android phones. Whenever I'm texting with my iPhone, and I text someone and the message pops up green instead of blue, I'm tempted to cut that person out of my life completely. Now, I work with you. Speaking of Terminator, right now, the fact that I work with you means it would be kind of hard to completely cut you out of my life. But as an Apple user, when I get the green non-Apple message, it's so aggravating. And also, being an Apple guy, I'm letting Skynet take over. Like, I am complicit in Skynet taking over because I love how all my devices are connected, right? I love how my iPad connects to my computer, which connects to my phone, which connects to my watch, which connects to my Apple TV. Like, I'm glad Danny Gillette agrees with me. Hello, Danny. By the way, hello, Ray. Hello, Joseph Rodriguez. Hello, Anthony. Hello, Marquise. Hello, everyone who's partaking in the live chat. All right, I think we're going to try to bring Jazz Santana back. He is on probation, right? Because if the phone is freezing up again, it looks like he's inside somewhere. He's are you in a parking garage or something? Where are you, Jazz?
I am in a parking garage, and I get much better. Apparently, I'm getting much better reception here. Is this better for you?
Yeah. It is better. It is better. All right. So
awesome.
I didn't get much about what you were saying about the Alabama game. Is there any sort of a performance that you would consider to be a moral victory for Miami outside of winning the game outright?
Yeah, not getting blown out by 60 points. That's about it. Aside from that, there's no moral victories. I think at this point, man, look, the good thing is that we get them the first game of the season. I mean, that's probably the brightest point of it all, when maybe they're still trying to figure things out. Bryce Young, first-time quarterback. They've lost so many guys on the offensive side of the football, so many, skill position players. But we all know Alabama reloads. That's what they do, right? They reload. They don't, kind of taper down. I mean, you're going to see the same type of offense, same type of defense. They still have a lot of guys on defense. I just don't think there's any moral victories. I think you need to go out there, you can compete, play as hard as you can, and try to come out on top and squeeze out some sort of upset somehow, get lucky somehow. You're going to have to play perfect football, I think, and you're going to have to cause some mistakes on the for Alabama. But aside from that, no, that's it. No moral victories for me, Donno.
This has been one of the most fascinating college football off seasons, historic off season. I mean, from name, image, and likeness to then this seismic SEC realignment. Like, even if we are truly, 4 years away, they may find a way to do this sooner. But even if we are 4 years away from Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC, this is going to be monumental. And then, Jazz, you see all these rumors and reports about the SEC. They don't want to just stop with adding Oklahoma and Texas, right? There are rumors about them basically going after everyone but Miami, which makes me feel a little bit left out, right? There's rumors about going after Florida State and Clemson from the ACC, going after, Michigan and Ohio State from the Big Ten. If you get all those teams, you might as well rename the conference, because you're not the Southeastern Conference anymore, nor do I think they would care if they have like most of the relevant programs in college football. But if all of this really does go down, Jazz, like if Florida State and Clemson were to leave the ACC and the SEC becomes that big of a monster, every other conference is kind of left with scraps when it comes to fanfare, TV revenue, merchandise. Like, if Miami were to have an opportunity to also jump into a super conference like that, would you rather do it and compete with the big dogs, or would you rather stay behind and try to be the big fish in the small pond?
No, I think you have to do it. I think you have to do it because you might lose favor when it comes to playoff positioning if you do have a really good, a really good season. And so, and obviously the newest rumor, and I don't know if you saw this, Donno, now I don't know how legit it is, that Miami and the Big Ten are speaking.
I don't like it.
First of all, I don't like it. First of all, so is it any better having to go up to play Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State in all cold weather cities, cold weather places, I guess, cold weather schools? Not only that, I just don't like it. I don't think it makes any sense. It loses out on the flair of the rivalries you have with FSU and even UF that you're scheduled to play and things that. So can I see a move? Yes. Especially if Notre Dame doesn't end up moving over to the ACC officially. I don't know what's going on with that either, but there's too many rumors out there. Now everybody, wants to jump ship now that Oklahoma and Texas moved. Oh no, now we got to leave too, and we got to join this league. And I think that the SEC, it makes sense from a financial point of view, I assume. I don't know too much of the specifics, but at the same time, I just think I think it takes away from the game a little bit. It takes away from the rivalries. It takes away from, if Clemson and FSU move to the SEC, how many times are we going to play FSU every year still? I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
It's going to water down all the other conferences, so you're going to have to realign everything, and that's just going to be, it's going to be an S show, if you know what I mean.
That's such a great point. I think if that were to happen, if FSU were to go to the SEC, we'd probably lose them off the schedule. They would use the same excuse that Florida did, 30 years ago when they went to the SEC. Because I'm also seeing when the SEC, if they expand that much, they're going to have a 9 or a 10 conference game schedule. So they're going to take away non-conference dates. That would make it very easy for Florida State. And of course, they're going to be going up against a gauntlet within their own conference. And that would make it very easy. If we only have like 2 non-conference games, we want to schedule cream puffs. Like, we don't want to play Miami every year if we don't have to. So I would predict we would lose them from the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's just going to ruin it because it's one of the best, rivalries in college sports, let's be honest, So I don't see that happening. I don't see Clemson and FSU moving to the SEC. I mean, stranger things has happened, and it's all about money at this point. The the NCAA, needs to figure out a way to kind of stay relevant as well. So I don't know what's going to happen there.
By the way, I like some of these comments coming in. Anthony writes in, Alex, the rumor I was reading was saying that the SEC is thinking of doing a merger with the ACC, and that includes all the teams in the conference. The teams are able, if I don't know if he means if they're able to get out of the rights contract. Marquise writes, if the ACC can't pick up any programs and other ACC teams leave, Miami has to leave. I agree with both of those things. I want to ask Jazz Santana one more thing on the way out. Your prediction for Miami in the ACC this year, do you see them winning the conference? God bless you if you do. Second place, third place. A lot of folks have Miami third place behind UNC and Clemson, of course. How do you see this thing going?
I think they have a really good chance of making it to the championship game. I think you still have to get through Clemson, right? Clemson is the cream of the crop there. UNC, I think, is going to take a step back just because they lost all of their skill guys except for Sam Howell. They're still talented, right? So they're still going to, be competitive. I just think that this year Miami can win the Coastal definitely I don't want to say without a problem, but I think that they do have a really good shot at winning the Coastal. But it's going to be hard to get through Clemson. Listen, it's college football, man, and anything can happen. If Miami's having a really good year and they somehow squeak by Alabama, there's a good shot that they could win the ACC championship game. Do I see it? Maybe not, because Clemson is still, like I said, Clemson is still the best team in the conference. So would be nice to see, but I definitely do see them winning the Coastal.
All right, I lied. Before I let you run, I want to ask this question that Anthony flashed on the screen. Jazz, I'm a big fan of Isaiah Dunson. By chance, do you know how he's performing at fall camp? Well, fall camp yet to start, and how his development is going to go with DVD and T-Rob?
Well, he's set up in a nice position with T-Rob and DVD. Doing, you can already see what they're doing on the recruiting trail. You see DVD. The track record with T-Rob putting guys in the league, developing cornerbacks. DVD's doing a really great job at doing that as well here at Miami already. He's another kid that might need to step up. I know it's a Corey Couch and DJ Ivy, and who knows what's going to happen with Outblades finally. But Dunson's going to be in the mix for that, that nickel corner or, even that fourth corner. We're going to need those guys because injuries happen, and he showed a little skill last year. So I think he has a good chance of contributing on this team. I don't know how much. If the other guys can kind of play well, if DJ Ivy has a bounce back year a little bit, if Outblades plays, then it's going to be tough to outseat them. But could he have an opportunity to come in and contribute? Absolutely. And I think the development is only going to get better with T-Rob and DVD.
Huge stuff here by Jazz Santana. Make sure you check him out all over the 5 Reasons Sports Network, including the 6th Ring stream. Jazz, thank you so much, my friend. We'll talk to you again soon. You will be a regular on, especially during fall camp, and we can all overreact to everything happening.
And with a laptop instead of a phone. I guarantee you that.
Good stuff, man. Enjoy the parking garage.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it, Donno. Take care.
I love it how, never in the history of cellular service has anyone actually found better signal in a parking garage than outside of the parking garage. I guess it's the Skynet factor. By the way, Sean, I see our guy Manny has popped into the live chat. He's usually hands-on working on the show. He had a work commitment. He couldn't work with us today. At least that's what he claims. The real reason why Manny is not working on the show today is since we're talking so much Canes football, I had to ban Manny. Oh, no. Oh, you let him in? Oh, Manny, you are banned today. You had your Canes tattoo removed. Your tattoo was removed. You are banned, sir. You are not allowed on the show today. His video quality was worse than the parking garage.
He's got the master key to everything. This guy
does. He just like pops in. I told him he was banned. None of his hurricane slander is tolerated. Oh my God. So pads came on at Dolphins practice yesterday. They're on again today for the first time. A couple things. Can you flash, Sean, these tweets about Devontae Parker that I found to be interesting? Because Devontae Parker had been working the last few days, but Omar Kelly tweets out, make it a little bit bigger so I can see it, please. Devontae Parker in pads looks like he will give it a go in practice. Parker might be an every other day practice participant, considering his history. I am fine with it. I'm fine with that as well, to be honest. I mean, Devontae Parker at this point, he's enough of a veteran that I hope he can find a way to deal physically, even if he isn't working fully in practice every single day. And sometimes you need to approach different players differently. And yeah, Louis D. Sung also tweeted, Parker looks fine to me during individual drills, no limp, pretty smooth, all things considered. Guess this is just caution on Miami's part. Unfortunately, certain players just have a difficult time managing their soft tissue injuries, the hamstrings and the calf injuries throughout a 4 practice work week, right? And the hard days are typically Wednesday and Thursday. Monday is the easy day. Tuesday is the day off. Wednesday and Thursday are the harder days. Friday's the walkthrough. But for players like Devontae Parker, who just have a problem getting through a season without tweaking the hammy every couple of weeks, you might need to take that sort of every other day approach with Devontae Parker. And I'm completely with Omar Kelly on that. I'm cool with that. Now, you notice that as soon as the pads came on yesterday, it became a lot more about the trenches, and you started to have defensive players standing out the same way that it was all offensive players, right? The first few days of practice, Sean, when there was no contact, no pads, it was all about Tua throwing 60, 65-yard bombs time and time again, which I still take as a sign of progress. And it was all about Albert Wilson. Now, the last couple of days, it's been all about Benardrick McKinney. And, man, I am happy to see that guy feasting out there. He was a monster in goal line yesterday. I mean, he was really dominating with the TFLs against Myles Gaskin and company in goal line. He was the big standout from practice yesterday. And if you want to check out more on that, make sure you check out 5reasonsports.com. Alfredo Arteaga wrote an awesome write-up about it. Something that's becoming a clear trend in the defensive backfield with Xavier Howard, who I hope is still going to be a Dolphin when this is all said and done. But he's had, an ankle issue, and we've also had the contract question mark, so he hasn't been working very much. Nick Needham has been the guy who's emerged as the first teamer on the boundary opposite Byron Jones. Nick Needham has really emerged. I'm happy for him. I'm disappointed, though, that Noah Igbenogany has not been the guy so far. He did have a good day with the second teamers yesterday, so hopefully he's trending along and moving in the right direction, because if for any reason you do decide to deal away X, it would make me feel a lot better if Noah could emerge as the next big thing at corner. But if he's struggling, I'm struggling to accept any possibility of an Xavier Howard trade. We're going to shift our focus back to the Miami Heat. And, of course, we can also talk some combat sports with our next guest. He's become a great friend. He does awesome job not only on our NBA coverage, but post-fight coverage for UFC and boxing events. And he's a frequent guest on my 5-round show that we do Thursday night. So we have that coming up tomorrow night, 6 to 7:30. Johnathan Ramlakhan, 3-piece combo, joins us here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, man. We made some good acquisitions. We have a good fight coming up this weekend as well. I'm doing wonderful.
Sure
How
do.
are you doing, my friend?
Sure do, man. And let's start with these Miami Heat acquisitions. Is there anything you've been disappointed with so far? Because for me, the only regrets that I have is seeing Kendrick Nunn go to the Lakers and, not getting DeMar DeRozan. I get why he took the bag in Chicago, but are there any regrets that you have before we get into the positives?
I don't think so, because my expectations were kind of tampered coming in, right? My main expectations coming in were try to retain Duncan on a pretty decent deal, and then make sure you try to get Kyle Lowry, because that's going to ultimately make the team better. And then if you can find somebody to fill in that forward spot next to Bam, even better. And we did that doubly, right? We got Morris and we got PJ Tucker. So we did a great job this offseason. Am I a little disappointed we didn't get DeRozan? Yeah, but when you look at the number that he got in Chicago, you understand why that was going to happen anyways, right? There's no way we're going to match that. And good for him, man. Good for him. Let him go. Let him take the bag. He's still a little bit more aging, so you don't know if this is the last big deal that he's going to get. So let him go take the bag. Edward Albert saying Miami needs to sign Victor Oladipo as possible. If he can get healthy again, I hope he is great to have on the team. Hate Kendrick Nunn going elsewhere. I like him a lot. That's the one thing, actually. I do side with you on that. Not getting Kendrick Nunn back on actually such a good deal, right? We had him on that qualifying offer. But I do think Pat Riley has a plan, right? There's still a couple more roster spots to get filled out. And as I always say, man, trust in Pat.
I want to ask you this question that Edward Albert wrote in the chat. I disagree with this, and a couple of people have brought this up today. He says Miami Heat need to sign Victor Oladipo if possible. If he can get healthy again, I hope then he's great to have on the team. Hate Kendrick Nunn going elsewhere. I liked him a lot. So there's a lot to unpack there. But Victor Oladipo, I have no faith in his body, Johnathan. I have no faith that the guy can stay healthy. I thought last year was his audition, and his body failed that audition. I'm not a fan of bringing him back. Do you see it differently?
I do see it a little bit differently, right? If we're able to bring him back on a cheap contract, something that's just like a prove-it style deal, I'm completely okay with it, because we can have him come back. We already have his medical records. Our training team can work with him, get everything going. So if we can get him back on a cheap deal, that's a low risk, high reward type player, because now you have somebody that can come off the bench. Maybe he's not going to give you the Victor Oladipo that was playing in Houston, but look at the Victor Oladipo that came back when he came right off the injury in Indiana. He was still a useful player, right? He's still able to play some defense, still able to make some cuts. And if you have a Victor Oladipo, Tyler Hero backcourt coming off the bench, that's a pretty good backcourt, right? You still have you have a little bit of scoring there, you have a little bit of defense there, and like I said, you don't set any expectations with Victor Oladipo. You sign him knowing that it might not work out. You sign him literally knowing it might not work out, right? And if he does more than that, hey, all the better. Now we have somebody cool coming off the bench.
Shaboy Kane writes in, he says, I'd rather have Victor than UD. You can't slander my guy UD. I mean, Johnathan, I don't care if UD only plays 5 minutes per season. Like, just, check in once a year to make sure you're eligible for a season played. I'm fine with him being the 15th guy on this roster till he's 60, if that's what he wants.
Yeah, why not? Right? I mean, at the end of the day, the guy that's the 15th guy on the roster is probably not going to make that much of the difference. We already have the bonus is now we have two-way contracts, right? We didn't have that before, and now we have that extra spot. You can sit there, and one of the most memorable memories from last season is those 5 minutes that UD came on the court. I think out of everything that happened last season with the way that it went, that's probably a top 5 moment. So keep the man here. He's great for nostalgia. Everybody loves the man. He's great on the bench, right? He's a great leader. He's another NBA champion. Royal talks about a lot of the champions that we added. We added 3 NBA champions to the team. And, we lost a veteran in Goran Dragic off the bench. UD is going to be important to make sure we have that veteran leadership.
He says, I love UD, but he's taking up spots. Make him a coach, man. He doesn't want to coach. Let the guy have what he wants. I like this one from Ethan because it keeps us focused, right? Because we can talk for days about what Miami has already done. What could they still be yet to do? And I'm not expecting anything seismic for salary reasons, but how active do you think the Heat are going to be here for the rest of this free agent period? What's next?
I think we have to find a backup wing, right? Right now we only have KZ Okpala as that kind of backup wing. And sure, you can slide PJ Tucker to that 3 spot if you want to at times. I don't think he has that length. He's more of that brute bull type. Will be able to keep you out of the post, keep you out of the paint, do a good job on the boards. So I still think we're looking for that wing, right? We lost out on DeMar DeRozan. A name that's been floated around is Kelly Oubre as well. I think Otto Porter took a deal to the Warriors, so I think he's gone. I would love, if we can get Kelly Oubre, man, Tsunami Poppy, get that boy over here. I don't mind at all. But I think that's the next step for the Heat. I think getting a veteran wing, somebody that can play that 3-4 spot, has a little bit more length and doesn't have the rawness of KZ that'll just be committing a lot of fouls. I think that's our next step.
I think there's no question the Heat have gotten better. How much better have they gotten in your eyes? Like, where do you see them? And I know that there are complicated things here because there are also other teams making moves and getting better in the East. But how much better relative to seeding do you think the Heat have gotten this summer?
I think we're a 3 seed. I do really think we're a 3 seed, and here's why. I believe we're the best defensive team in the league now. I don't think there's a team out there that's better defensively than us. We have a defensive player of the year. Bam literally could have won defensive player of the year last year, and now he doesn't have to switch out on the perimeter every single time. He's going to have Kyle Lowry there fighting through screens, being able to match up with big guards, and that's going to help our defense tremendously. What was the second biggest issue last year? Our rebounding was a problem. And the reason the rebounding was a problem was because Bam was always switching out to the guards, and then we had Tyler Hero trying to box out Brook Lopez. And, I mean, that's not going to work. So now we're going to be able to keep Bam in the paint. You're going to have P.J. Tucker, who is a great box out. All the respect to Trevor Ariza. He has the length, but he doesn't have the weight to box out bigger dudes. P.J. Tucker will be able to do that. I think Bam will have a really good rebounding season. I can see him averaging 11+.
I love it. Johnathan Ramlakhan. Yeah, so sorry to interrupt you. Johnathan Ramlakhan from 5 Reasons Sport is with us here on 5R Live. Real quick on the way out, man, we have a UFC pay-per-view coming up this weekend, UFC 265. It did suffer a blow, though, late last week with the Amanda Nunes-Juliana Pena fight getting pulled with Amanda testing positive for COVID. I still think it's a pretty saucy main card, man. Now, I'm not a fan of interim titles. I think this fight could have been a standalone. I just don't like the whole concept of interim belts. But Derek Lewis, Cyril Gane is an awesome fight. Jose Aldo, Pedro Munoz should be a really good fight. Chiesa Luque, I think, could be low-key fight of the night. I think that's a great one. Tisha Torres, Angela Hill. So there's some really good stuff on this card. Can you give a letter grade to UFC 265 this weekend? How pumped are you for it?
I'll give it a good B. Right? Luque is one of my favorite fighters, probably top 5 favorite fighters to watch. That man is one of the most entertaining dudes. One of the fights that made me fall in love with UFC was the Mike Perry versus Vicente Luque fight, because that was one of the most brutal, violent, just everything. It had everything. His nose got broken, then he got him in a choke, and that blood was squirting everywhere. I loved it, man. It was great. So I'm looking forward to say Luque. Munoz versus Aldo, man. That's going to be a banger. That's also another one that could be fight of the night. And with all the skills that Cyril Gane has, I think he outclasses Derek Lewis in every category. I do think still Derek Lewis will get it done, man. I think somehow he'll pull it out of the pocket. The way he was able to do it to Curtis Blades, and then last night I was watching the fight against Volkov. He's able to pull it out of the bag no matter what. So I think all it takes is one punch. He could be sitting there, a sitting target for 4.5 rounds, and pull that one right left hook out of the bag, and that's it for Cyril Gane. So I think it's a good beat. I think it's a really fun card. I'm not a fan of the interim title myself, but I still think it's a great card, and I think it'll be an exciting one, especially being in Houston with Derek Lewis.
Great stuff. Make sure you follow this man, 3-piece combo. Check out his work all over the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Johnathan, thank you so much, man. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, sir. You have a good one.
Awesome stuff, man. Excellent. Our guest brought it strong today, even though I gave Chaz Santana negative marks for his crappy service. He must be an Android guy, but we did end up saving it. He found the service in the parking garage. I want
100% Apple.
I think he is an iPhone guy because when I text him, it goes blue. So I think I was trying to characterize him under the Android umbrella. I want to make things a bit serious here for a couple minutes because this story to me, it's something I cannot ignore because after reading excerpts from this YouTube interview from a victim of Deshaun Watson's harassment, I had already made up my mind about this guy months ago when 22 allegations surfaced. I do not want this guy anywhere near my NFL franchise. Just way too toxic. The man is a predator, I believe. And I say I believe because I know he's not been convicted criminally in a court of law. But if I even believe 5% of the stories being told by alleged victims. This guy is not someone I want ever representing my NFL franchise. And for any fan of the team that does end up trading for him, whether he probably won't stay in Houston. If he ends up getting traded to somewhere like Philadelphia or wherever, I think fans of those teams will have to accept the fact that your management is morally bankrupt if they bring this guy in. So an alleged victim, a massage therapist, woman named Nia Reese Lewis Smith, was a guest on a YouTube show with popular personality Tasha K last week. I found these quotes at LarryBrownSports.com. So if you want to check out their full write-up of it. And again, if you're not into hearing pretty gross, gnarly details, you may not want to listen to this part of the show. And I'm even going to censor a little bit because some of this is so graphic, I don't feel comfortable reading it out loud. So Lewis Smith told Tasha K about how things went with Deshaun Watson. She is a former massage therapist for the Houston Texans quarterback. She says that Watson reached out to her via a private message on Instagram. She says she was initially confused that someone so famous would reach out. She also said she had no idea who he was or what sport the Houston Texans played. She gave Watson 3 massages, but stopped after his behavior became gradually more inappropriate. She says for the first massage, the salon was specially opened on a Sunday for him. She says Watson asked her to focus specifically on his glutes for the massage. Things kind of went weird, she said. The only thing, this is a quote, the only thing that really bothered me in the first appointment is he kept asking me to go inside his butt, she said. She says Watson's request was unusual because most of her male clients ask her to stop just above the thigh. I originally thought it was the crack, so I would go around that area, and he said he still wasn't satisfied. He was very adamant and was saying, don't be afraid to go inside, he said. Lewis Smith says that she told the salon owner immediately how bizarre the appointment was. She still was willing to give Watson the benefit of the doubt and chalked up his behavior to an unusual preference. She says the second appointment then changed her stance. In the second appointment, it was just really inappropriate, she said. He was very touchy-feely. He would act like he accidentally brushed up against my butt, like if I would be on the side of his neck or if I'd be at the front of the massage table, he would reach his hands up and act like he was accidentally brushing up against me. She says she had to massage him from a distance that time because he kept trying to touch her. She said that Watson wanted to focus solely on his groin and rear for the second appointment. He also asked Lewis Smith if she wanted to put his you-know-what in her mouth. She said it was very, very, very uncomfortable. I'm trying to be professional, but get through this hour-long massage without any conflict. She said then, and this is really unfortunate, that she felt pressure from the salon owner to keep Watson happy as a client because she was proud, the owner was proud to have him as a client. Quote, there came a time when he would be erect the entire time, and I'm going to censor part of this. He kept trying to get me to rub all over that area or make me touch it. It was just the most uncomfortable time in my life, she said. It just seemed like the hour was taking so long. I remember cutting the massage short by 15 minutes and pretending like it was a full hour, she said. It was just really weird, she recalled. She said she would push his hands out of the way to indicate his advances and behavior was inappropriate. She says he would innocently say, "What?" after each time she pushed his hands away. She said she felt very taken advantage of. Despite the first 2 massages being problematic, Lewis Smith did massage Watson a third time. She felt pressure from the salon owner to make him happy as a client. She described the business owner as being infatuated with having Watson as a client. She says she felt like she couldn't refuse him as a client because of pressure from the owner. The third session, she said, he blatantly asked me to have sex with him. He kept requesting sex from me. He kept trying to touch me between my legs, and he did touch me between my legs. He wouldn't keep his hands to himself. Eventually, I had to decide that would be the last time I would massage him against everyone's wishes. She says she refused to continue working for the salon once the owner did not support her. So listen, and of course, I am giving her the benefit of the doubt here. Maybe if Deshaun Watson were with us right now, he would say all of that is completely made up. I am going to give her the benefit of the doubt here. And I've heard enough stories like that about Deshaun Watson. Like I'm telling you, man, do not want this guy anywhere near my NFL franchise. He is a predator. And this is like a weird, sick, predatory infatuation. Because if the guy's just looking to get laid, he can do that no problem, right? Rich, famous, good-looking dude. He's got a weird thing for these sort of conquests. Like, this guy can go on Tinder. This guy can find an actual prostitute if that's what he's looking for. The fact that he's put allegedly 22 massage therapists through this sort of abuse, physically, mentally, and emotionally, to me, like, the guy has so many issues. I do not want him anywhere near my NFL team. I have completely written this guy off. There are certain things I cannot tolerate and I cannot forgive. And in the case of Deshaun Watson, I do not want this man. And I think this is a good point by Manny Chang writes in, and I hope this is happening, by the way. He says the owner of that salon should be investigated and fired. Well, I don't know. I don't know if she could be fired if she owns it, but she should be sued. Like, the owner of that parlor should be, or I guess I shouldn't say parlor. The owner of that massage studio, salon, whatever you call it, should be investigated and sued, because that is really, really disgusting stuff. So you have to understand, man, why anytime I see NFL fans and Dolphin fans, especially because the Miami Dolphins are the team that I love, on social media talking about how, maybe this is a good time to trade for Deshaun Watson. Maybe now with all this going on, we could get him at, a cheaper price, fewer draft picks, fewer assets. Bro, no, I do not want this guy on or anywhere near my team. I am team Tua. I am rooting for Tagovailoa. I'm expecting big things from Tagovailoa this year. I am all on the Tua train, man. And I don't even want to think about Deshaun Watson being a Miami Dolphin moving forward. I don't. Oh, my God. So it's been a lot of fun today. Hold on. I wanted to pull up the MLS scoreboard for tonight, because I do have a couple of wager recommendations. And Sean, I know you're going to be all in. Now, they're playing in Orlando tonight, right? Inter Miami. So you're not going to be at the game.
No. We'll be in our
I know you. Nice. I know you're going to be all in on La Rosa Negra tonight. Inter Miami do play dreaded rivals Orlando City. And I've had my BetUS.com sportsbook fired up throughout the day today. It really is an incredible service, guys. I have been a member of a number of different sports books throughout the years. BetUS, not only do they give you odds on literally any sport or pop culture event you can imagine, there is an odd for it. There are odds on BetUS.com I have not been able to find on other services. It's very convenient. It's very user-friendly. It's extremely secure, right? I mean, they make you verify your identity, which is important for your safety. The payouts are fast and easy. I love BetUS.com. Every member gets assigned a client rep. My client rep is Carla, and she is awesome. And I locked in, Sean, a couple of Major League Soccer bets for tonight at BetUS.com. And hey, make sure you sign up. You can see it there on the screen. If you sign up and make a deposit at BetUS.com, you can bet along with me every day. And if you use my code 5RSN125 at checkout, 5RSN125, you get a 125% sign-up bonus. 125%. I made a $150 deposit yesterday, and I've got $187.50 in free play money. I mean, how good is that? So I've got my $150 deposit and $187 in free play money. I am making it rain with that free play money. And so tonight, I've got Orlando City on the money line, minus 150 against La Rosa Negra. Superior team playing at home. Inter Miami, due to their credit, I know Manny Chang is unhappy. Inter Miami did end in their last performance against Montreal, their 7-game winless streak. I think Orlando, unfortunately, will help them start another winless streak tonight. And I've also got New England Revolution over Nashville SC on the money line. And I think there's actually some value here. I placed the bet this morning because when I looked at the line yesterday, it was New England Revolution minus 150 on the money line, meaning a $15 bet would win you 10. But that has actually shrunk. It's now New England Revolution minus 130. So a $13 bet would win you $10 back. So I have locked in New England Revolution minus 130, and Orlando City minus 150 for tonight. And Manny Chang is going to strangle me. By the way, Mike Monaco from the Bronx says, you have to upgrade your doors. What's wrong with my doors, bro? My closet door? I don't understand. You have to upgrade your doors? I might have to upgrade my doors if Manny Chang realizes I win money on Orlando City tonight. He's going to be breaking my door down trying to get after me, man. So make sure you check out betus.com. They are the official sports book of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Oh, now Manny's going after me about Romelu Lukaku. I'm in a deep depression. You stinking Chelsea fans, enjoy it. I'm so angry. Chelsea are buying my beloved Lukaku from Inter Milan. I am an Inter Milan supporter, and Romelu Lukaku is being sold for a rumored fee around 130 million euros, and I am in a deep depression over that. And you know what I do to drown my sorrows? I go up to the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. The cocktails at the Quarterdeck will cure my ails. The beer is ice cold, and friends, the seafood is so fresh. It is right out of the ocean. I love their sushi. I love their buffalo shrimp. It is my favorite appetizer. I'm going to go out there today and get the new Italian beef sandwich, which is so good. It's got the au jus dipping sauce. Oh, it's so fantastic. I get tater tots on the side. If you want to peep their menu and check out the location nearest to you, you can visit them on the web at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. And make sure you head out to the Quarterdeck this Saturday, because they will have UFC 265 for zero cover charge. You can watch every UFC pay-per-view for zero cover charge at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. By the way, the obscenities that Manny Chang is hurling at me in the private chat. Oh, man. Bleeping bleep hole, he writes to me. Orlando City minus 150. That is a hot tip for today. Huge thanks to Manny Chang. Huge thanks to Sean Stanley. These guys do so much work behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. Johnathan Ramlakhan, who talks some Miami Heat with us and a little MMA with us, and Jazz Santana, who talked plenty of Miami Hurricanes with us in the shelter of that parking garage to improve his service. We will come at you live again tomorrow. Oh, and by the way, also, make sure you check out Larry Bluestein and me. Our latest episode of 5 Rings Canes is available on every podcasting platform. Just search 5 Rings Canes. You can check out our fall camp preview there. We'll talk more fall camp throughout the week. We will talk to you guys again tomorrow, 12 noon, right here on Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.